Alright, so what we've got today, got a little Dodge Neon. Looks like we've got a few problems here, but one of the things that I've seen is it's my neighbor. He actually was doing some brakes and he noticed that it's got a different size bolt in it. So it looks as though somebody's had some sort of problem at some point and changed the brake bolt out, and he says it's stripped and it doesn't want to hold tightness, otherwise he'd have just left it alone. So we're going to have to do a helicoil. So we'll get this thing open and see how bad it is. Yeah, so it looks like they've done something here. That's the original bolt. So you can see how far it goes in. So we've got our helicoil kit here, and here's our die that comes with our tap, and a drill I had to supply, which is 21/64. I've got the old Milwaukee here, and we're going to use the old 90-degree drill that I picked up a few years ago. We've got to drill that out. We've got to do it very straight. Alright, now another thing too is you can use a little bit of tap magic, which is this stuff here. It's pretty good cutting fluid. Make sure you get a liberal amount in there. You want to wipe the excess off. Get everything cleaned up in there. And you prepare for your helicoil. Most of them are all about the same. Turn it inside there and then it starts to contact, and then see it gets to the edge right there. That's perfect. And on this one, just use my fancy little crescent wrench just to kind of put it in there. You got to make sure that it doesn't come through the other side. It needs to be flush with it. And that's right there. And then this unthreads. Now you have to take your new anchor pin kit. You want to make sure everything bolts in there like it's supposed to. Looks like that's going to be good. Now the only thing we might have to do is we might have to trim this edge off the back here. So we'll see how that does. I apologize if you're getting wind noise. We've got some sort of an Arctic blast that came through. So here's the pins. Pull those out. I'll put a couple of drops of this Tap Magic in there because it's already got grease in it. I just want to kind of reanimate the grease that's in there. Yeah, there's not much. There's a little bit of that grease in there, you can see. That one's a little bit more stubborn. Drops. Okay, looks good. Let's see how this works. Make sure that we're right in there. So now they're both back to being one size, however, they're different from the other side. And nice and snug. And that's exactly what you want. You want to rotate it, make sure you don't have any problems. Because if you hear the thread is popped out of there, then you have to pull it back out again and recheck it. But one of the things that, the way this works, I'll show you with this new one here. When you put a bolt in there and you start to thread that in, like we use for example this old bolt, as you start to thread it in there, what it does is it starts to press up and down, or press outward on this helicoil. It looks pretty loose right there, as you can see, but when it's in this hole over here, it's a lot tighter, kind of like a spring, if you would. And when you go to start the thread in there, it actually pushes the helicoil out against that newly threaded hole that you just made. So on this particular one, what I would probably do is I would probably take the grinder and cut the nib off the front of that, because considering that's all the thread that's going to hold it before it hits it, or you can grind this tip off. Some of them recommend that you tie it in there, and see it's got a little nip on the end right there. And that's where you can cut that, if you can get to it. Anyway, that's a quick helicoil. Like I say, that's all he really wanted to do for now. Otherwise, I would have recommended replacing the whole knuckle assembly. And some of these actually have a caliper carrier where you can just unbolt it and replace it. But unfortunately, this one didn't have that. So anyway, there's a thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe if you like to, and we'll see you on the next one.